going to talk about a fellow by the name of Alexander Belyaev. Belyaev, I think I pronounced that correctly. And he's our uninvited guest. He's from same university as the lady that we talked about the other day, okay? Yvette Fuentes, and it's from Southampton. So I don't have to say much about that again. University of Southampton, it's a state-funded public university. In other words, this is paid for with taxes. And so these people earn big bucks, right, because they have good salaries as teachers, as instructors, whatever, right? They belong to a million organizations that are these think tanks. And they get all this money. A lot of it is private also, by the way, but much of it is from the government. So government is paying for this for whatever reasons. That means you're paying for it one way or another. And this is in merry old England, but you're going to see the same thing throughout the world. In Russia, they have this. In China, they have this. In the African nations, and in South America, and so on. This is worldwide. You have the state helping these people out. And what does this fellow do? His name is Alexander Belyaev, and he's theory and phenomenology. Oh, Jesus Christ, that must be so scientific. Theory and phenomenology of elementary particle physics and cosmology. Big title there, right? And he does physics beyond the standard model. They abandoned the standard model. It don't work, okay? So they're abandoning it. They want to go into fields, okay? Supersymmetry and its dark matter links to cosmology. Yeah, these people are looking for dark matter. They cannot explain that phenomenon, the galaxy rotation problem. And so these people think that there's some dark matter out there, which is really dark mass. They call it matter. They're talking about mass. They're saying we have to sprinkle mass on the outside of the galaxy in order to produce the effect that we see of all these stars, of all these galaxies rotating around. And the issue there is that, again, the stars on the outside are traveling at the same speed or faster than the ones on the inside. That's like if Mercury traveled slower than Pluto, right? And you say, how can that be? You would think that Mercury would go around faster than Pluto. And so this is the issue. The issue is that they're looking for dark matter, and they're trying to unite quantum mechanics with general relativity, dark matter belonging to general relativity. And you have all this supersymmetry stuff that they've got, which belongs to the world of the tiny, of the small, okay? And one thing that caught my eye is this guy works on Higgs, little Higgs, Higgless, and also the, what is called the Higgsino, okay? And that's when I'm interested. You see, there's search for Higgsinos in final states with low momentum lepton track pairs. He published this recently, or is about to publish it, one of his last papers, okay? And so what is all that about? What is this Higgsino thing? I didn't see the Higgsino in the standard model. I just saw the Higgs. And yeah, that's why this guy says he's working beyond the standard model, whatever that is, okay? So they're inventing more particles. And you're saying, I mean, are they seeing these things? Or are they going to the lab, the accelerator, and seeing all these particles go there, and we're watching all the particles just flow by? Not at all. It's all math, okay? That's the point. It's all math. And it's math that they think they should be inventing, because they have no other explanation for what's happening in the lab, the accelerator. And so what is a Higgsino? Let's start there. And here we have the Higgsinos, superpartner hypothetical particle of the Higgs boson. They work with bosons over there. They're clowns, right? And they say a superpartner. What in the world is that? Well, we'll see that in a second. But it says a Higgsino has spin half, and it refers to a weak isodoublet with hypercharge half. They have all these terms, these beautiful terms that they've invented. Higgsino fields linearly, and by the way, they have no idea what a spin is, okay? They talk about spin as if they knew what they're talking about, and you say, well, spin is like a top. They say, well, no, it's not like that. It's, angular momentum of some kind. We don't know what it is, but they always illustrate it like a top, like a top turning. So, they study spin. They don't know what spin is, but they study it and they mathematize it. That's what they do. And it says Higgsino fields linearly mix with gauginos. We have the gauginos and the Higgsinos, okay? Leading to neutralinos, the neutralinos and charginos that refer to physical particles. Okay, so these are physical particles, whatever that is, because particles are vibrations of fields according to them. And so they've invented all these terms, the Higgsino, the gauginos, neutralinos, and charginos. So you better be ready for beyond the standard model, because that's what's coming, okay? The lightest supersymmetric particles, LSP, is a particle physics candidate for dark matter. Okay, that's where they're trying to shoot for. They're saying, we're looking for dark matter. We're going to find it here on Earth. But I don't know how they can do that because, dark matter supposedly weighs tons. It's invisible. It's very small. It's invisibly small. It's translucent. You can see all the stars in the background right through the halo that surrounds our galaxy or any galaxy. And nevertheless, they say, look, it's there. And we're going to look at it. We're going to look for it. We're going to try to discover it here at the accelerator. But it's got to weigh tons. I mean, can you imagine one of these little particles weighing more than an elephant? And it says the neutralino LSP, depending on its composition, can be a bino, a wino, or a Higgsino dominated. Okay, Higgsino dominated LSP is often referred as a Higgsino, in spite of the fact that a Higgsino is not a physical state in the true sense. I hope you understood all of that. We had all these enos, okay? We have the Higgsinos, the binos, the charginos, gauginos. No, this is not, this is from the circus, yes, but you shouldn't laugh. This is serious, this is serious stuff, okay? So here, here we have, just to make sure that you don't confuse them, the little Higgs is not the same thing as a Higgsino. Please, okay, do not confuse them. Little Higgs and Higgsinos are distinct theoretical concepts designed to solve why the Higgs boson is so light, okay? Little Higgs, a particle theory where the Higgs boson is a pseudo-Nambu-Goldstone boson. Okay, I'm glad we have a lot of bozos over there, It is a composite model alternative to supersymmetry, SUSY, okay? Higgsino, the supersymmetric partner, right, superpartner of the Higgs boson, right, is supersymmetric in supersymmetric models. It is a fermion, whereas the little Higgs is a boson, okay? So they have the Higgsino, you got to have, there's a difference between a fermion and a boson, okay? And so they're saying the Higgsino, the one they're going to be studying, right, is a fermion. Is it? Or did I get that wrong? Little Higgs models are generally alternative to SUSY, while Higgsinos are mandatory components of SUSY. Okay, whatever. The point here is that they're inventing all these particles, so-called particles. And they're studying this. You're paying for it, by the way, right? Let's keep that in mind. You're paying these people's salaries. Run it like a company. These people, what are they producing? They're producing names of new particles as we go along. What is this? And you're saying, well, I mean, who's studying the Higgsino? Who's studying the little Higgs and all these little gauginos and whatever particles? Well, here you have it, okay? This is just the Higgsinos. Okay, and if you look it up for this year alone, 2025, you'll find all kinds of papers on the Higgsinos. So yeah, this is big stuff. This is not something out of Hollywood. These people are actually, studying this stuff and spending money on this because they cost money and big bucks, by the way. Okay, so yeah, forget it. These people are really working on all this stuff, and you're paying for it, and they're working, and they're just inventing names, the Higgsino, gaugino, chargino. What is this? Is this science? Is this what we call science? Where did all this stuff start, okay? And here it is. It started with this, the neutrino. And Wolfgang Pauli postulated neutrino in 1930 to explain how beta decay could conserve energy, momentum, and spin. And again, they have no idea what spin is, They barely know what momentum is, okay? And they certainly don't know what energy is. So they don't have any of those words defined. They don't know what they're looking for, but they're going to study them and mathematize them. There's a strict limit on energy of electrons from each type of beta decay. Okay, such a limit is expected if energy conservation is valid. Okay, so this is the issue. There was a leftover, essentially. That's what's happened here. Okay, and they had to explain that leftover. Experiments prove that a limited and conserved amount of energy is available during beta decay. A new particle was sometimes taking a varying fraction of this limited energy. They had to explain that, leaving the rest for the beta particle. And so this is the new particle that they invented, the neutrino, right? Pauli publicly emphasized that the still undetected neutrino at the time, right, must be an actual particle. Okay, so they had an event, something happening, right, in the accelerator or wherever when they smashed particles, whatever. And when they did the math, they said there's a little energy we cannot account for, or momentum, or spin, or whatever. And so they came up with, and they said, I know, there's a particle there, and it's called a neutrino. And at least Pauli said it is a particle. It's a little ball, right? We're talking about balls, okay? And then they deny it, but that's how they treat it. So effectively, operationally, it's a ball. That's what they're talking about. Then they deny it, okay? And you're saying, well, are they really anybody working on neutrinos, anything like that? This is a $100 million experiment that they're doing in Japan. They're expanding it now, so they're spending even more money on it. Okay, they're trying to detect neutrinos, and the way they do it, they go underground. They have this big pool, and it's not really for swimming. I think they put some chemicals in there, and what they do is they want to try to catch one out of gazillions of neutrinos, which are flooding and going right through our bodies, because allegedly they interact weakly or poorly or whatever with matter. So they do not interact with atoms, right? They go right through atoms. Okay, and listen to that. It's a particle that goes through an atom. When I say the same thing for the rope model, they say, oh, Bill, you have two objects going through each other. So do they. They have the neutrinos going right through matter. But with this ocean that they have under the ground, they hope to detect a particle here and there, maybe one in a million years, right? And when they do, I don't know what they're going to do with it, because I guess they're trying to learn what the universe is made out of. And one of the issues is that maybe, just maybe, dark matter could be made of neutrinos. You never thought about that, huh? Okay, so this is what the Japanese are doing. Listen to this fellow, okay?
The T2K experiment uses a vast water-filled cavern buried 1,000 meters underground in central Japan. Everything in this $100 million golden chamber is designed to maximize the chances of catching the precious interactions with matter.
Yes, everybody's paying for this kind of stuff everywhere. They're trying to catch neutrinos. Are there neutrinos? Of course there aren't. There's no such thing as a neutrino, but they've already proved that it exists because they have this leftover stuff. It's a mathematical contraption. And they say we have to explain that, and then we call that lack of explanation, we'll call that a neutrino. And so from neutrino, then later on, they had all these, the bosons. They got married, and they had kids. And so it started with this guy, Bozo, and he had the standard model. We were okay there, more or less, I guess, the particle zoo, right? But they went beyond that, and what happened was Bozo got married. He had a wife, okay, and at the circus, okay, so keep that in mind. And then they had all the bozinos. The kids, they had lots of bozinos, and today we have all these bozinos. That's where we're at. So they're inventing all these particles, right? Here you have because they call them superpartners. So we have super bozo, right? And he's got all these super partners, right? And you see them there, neutrino, neutralino, Higgsino, chargino. I didn't invent these, by the way, okay? You might say, Bill, you've invented this stuff. No, this this is the stuff these people are researching with your money, okay? By the way, I want you to understand that. They've got all this Gaegino, Bino, Electrowikinos, Singlinos, okay? The only one that's different really is the one at the bottom. It's not called a wino, it's called a wino, okay? And here they're super partners, okay? Because, you know, not only do you invent partners, you have the super partners. That's why it's called a Superman, right? Super bozo, okay? And so this is what they call beyond the standard model. And this is what they're studying. This is what you're paying for, the beyond the standard model. This is the new, they had nothing to do. They had no work. There was nothing, I mean, even if you smashed particles, you could not come up with new particles because you needed, according to them, right? You need more energy. You need an accelerator the size of the solar system or maybe the size of a galaxy to smash them with enough speed or energy or whatever to create, to find out what they're made out of, right? To find out the next level. And they can't do that. So now they sit at their offices and they do calculations and they say, oh, we saw a new effect. Well, what do we call it? I don't know. Call it Charlie. The other guy said, no, I'll call it Pete. And they have all these names that they're inventing. The Charlino. Okay. So, yeah, the last one is not a wino. It's called a wino. And here it is. Since it's Christmas, there you see it. There's the wino. Okay. I hope you know what I'm talking about. That's the particle of the wino, but not to stay behind. You know, I invented my own particles here. I invented the Higgsino, okay? And I didn't stop there either. So I want my Nobel Prize because for this Christmas, I invented the vodkino, okay? I got them all there, okay? So I hope you have a Merry Christmas. Like I hope to have, and take some Higgsino with you, some vodkino, and some wino. Make sure you pronounce that correctly, okay? And hopefully we'll see you before the end of next year, okay? Bye-bye.